Come on in, everybody. I'm just trying to make sure everything is set up correctly and let some people come on in and we can get started. Uh-oh, my bad. Hey, crazy homebody girl. It's crazy. Like last night's episode of Married to Medicine was crazy to me. Like, I don't know, like it felt almost like a Tyler Perry movie at one point. Hi Becca. I'm pretty good. I have like the little sniffles right now, so excuse me. Allergies and stuff, but I'm pretty good. How about you? Hopefully my Wi-Fi will stay up for this. I hope mine will too, child. Mine been acting up too. We've been having a lot of crazy weather lately. I feel so bad for Contessa. Me too. Me too. It's something going on there that I don't know. I just feel like we're not getting the whole story or something, but I'll get more into that. But yeah, these allergies been tearing my butt up. I don't know why they hitting so hard. Well, I know why they hitting so hard this season, because I've been in the house and like my body isn't used to outside or something, so it just reacts crazy when I do go outside for long periods of time. Let me see, 1 second. So the people that are coming in, people that are here, did you get a notification, or have you been getting notifications? Or even if you're watching the playback, like, do you get your notifications now? Because I know at one point people were saying they didn't get notifications for my videos anymore. I don't know what's going on with YouTube and what's going on with that, but I think I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. So you get my notifications. Okay, good. All right. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started, you guys. So Married to Medicine. This season has been interesting for Contessa. I feel like ever since we met Contessa, like they're like in the beginning they seem to be doing well in their marriage, but it seems like as time goes on, I just feel like whatever front that they put up is like been harder to keep it up, because I feel like Contessa is very, very like at this point kind of at her breaking point. And so she's been willing to be more forthright and more honest about what's going on in their relationship. And Scott, he would be very content with just pretending like everything is okay. And even Contessa, to a certain degree, she'll say that too. Like whenever people try to talk with her about her relationship, she's like, well, basically I'm just gonna, you know, pretend like it's not happening. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like she knows if she talks with Scott, nothing is gonna change. But it's gotten to the point where Contessa clearly is like begging for some sort of change from Scott, because for her to involve like the group and like do this like surprise thing with him, it seems almost like a last resort type of thing, because she knew that Scott was not going to be happy with this, and she was even like very nervous like with how he was going to react, you know what I'm saying? um I feel like they had a good relationship in the beginning and then the show changed them. I could see them. I could see that. I could see the show like amplifying certain things. Um, I think Contessa wanted she even said it herself, she wanted some different things in her life that she's not gonna be able to do because she's married and because she has kids. So I feel like there might be a little bit of resentment there. Also, on top of the fact that she wanted to, the things that she could do to advance, Scott wasn't really supportive with that. I also feel like there's some things with Contessa as well. Like she can be very stubborn. She can be very passive aggressive, not saying exactly what she feels, in the moment. We've seen that. We've seen that on camera. These are things that we've seen on camera. These are things that they have expressed, you know what I'm saying? Um, you think it's a storyline? I don't know. Like if it's a storyline, Contessa I'm good at. Okay, Contessa is in the she might be in the wrong industry. She might need to be in Hollywood acting if this is a storyline because I mean, she really was giving it, okay, at that dinner. And so let me just get to the dinner. I feel like it's been like very whenever I look on Twitter and whenever I look in the comments, when people are talking about this, it's been very like either people feel like they were dead wrong for confronting Scott, or either people feel like this is what they do on the show. They try to help one another. They try to help one another fix their relationships when they are in trouble. And I can kind of see both sides. I even did a poll on my channel just to see how you all felt. I don't know if all of y'all knew about the poll, but let me pull it up real quick to see what y'all said. So 46% felt like, they were just trying to help, and 54% felt like they were doing too much. And, I feel like that's still like pretty half and half. So it's like, what do you do in a situation where you see your friend like really in a bad spot in their relationship with their husband and they're kind of like crying out for help? Because Contessa, when they said that, when they came to her and they told her that, okay, we want to sit down with y'all and we want to help y'all the way we've helped, other couples in this group in the past, Contessa was all for it. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't against it. She was all for it. The only problem I saw with them doing this is the fact that they didn't let Scott know up front what was going on. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Scott has been doing some shady things. This whole thing with the life coach, the whole thing with the life coach and your story switching up, that's shady. And then your kids talking about you got a girlfriend and you're not correcting them. That is so shady. So yes, of course, like it's not like I'm on Scott's side at all when it comes to how he treats Contessa, because I feel like he's dead wrong and something is going on there. But to bring him on this trip basically under false pretenses, I don't even think even they didn't even tell the other husbands exactly what was going on. You know what I'm saying? They did kind of tell them, yeah, we want to sit down and we want to have like this almost like an intervention with Scott and Contessa, but they didn't even really tell the other men what exactly, what was going on with Scott and Contessa. So they brought the man there under false pretenses. He thought he was just going to come. They do a cash trip every season with the husband and wives, so I'm pretty sure he thought it was just like your standard cash trip. So he comes there and they basically, it feels like an ambush because, and I'm gonna blame Heavenly for the ambush part of it, because here we go with Heavenly. And it made me so mad because it possibly didn't have to go this way. You know what I'm saying? It possibly could have been more constructive, but here we go with Heavenly. well, we haven't had Scott. So what's up, Scott? You gonna answer these questions, Scott? Like it's like she was targeting him from the very beginning. And so of course someone is going to be defensive if like we're all sitting at a table and someone is singling you out and making sure the spotlight is on you. Of course you're going to be defensive. Anybody would have been. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Heavenly like any chance they had of having any sort of resolve or any sort of, like real conversation where something could actually come from that, Heavenly messed it up. I really do. I feel like she really messed it up and it's crazy. Heavenly, I feel like had been doing so much better this season. I don't know why she came out. I know Contessa is your friend, but why would you come out and attack him first? Because I feel like if they could have really warmed Scott up, had conversation first, had a real dinner first. You know what I'm saying? Really, embraced him a little bit first. I know that probably would have been a little hard, or maybe you would have felt a little fake doing it, but you kind of like if you want to if you want somebody to let their guards down, you have to, make them feel comfortable. And maybe even warm him up with, me. Let's talk about Cecil and Simone and how they had their issues. Butter him up. Let's talk about how um Curtis and Jackie had their issues. And let's talk about how in this group we discuss our issues. It's not like Contessa and Scott haven't discussed their issues in front of them before. They have done it even this season. But it's like when you just attack, when it comes off as an attack, of course someone is going to be defensive. And so I don't even blame Scott for being on defense mode at that point because it came off like an attack. You know what I'm saying? Um and when y'all had these interventions for the couples at least saw the intervention coming. You know what I'm saying? Whenever y'all sat down with Dr. Jackie and Curtis or whatever, y'all really tiptoed around it. Y'all didn't really like yoke these people up. You know what I'm saying? Y'all really handled it in a delicate way. And even at the reunion with Cecil and Simone, when they actually got Cecil and Simone to stay together, they didn't handle it in an attacking sort of way, because at the end of the day, you're only getting one side of the story. Like not Cecil, like Curtis said, you're getting one side of the story. Now, do I believe that Scott is on some other stuff and he's doing some things behind Contessa's back and he's dead wrong? Yes, but we are only getting one side of the story, and you can't, when your friend is telling you something, really you're only hearing their perspective, and sometimes they're so emotionally wrapped up in the situation they can't even see the other person's perspective half the time. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you got to handle it accordingly. And I feel like, yes, I feel like for some people at that table, it wasn't coming from the right place. It was messy. It was messy. And it was coming from the place of, well, I want to get Scott together. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm people that do this for a living. So clearly, they're going to be emotional. They're not coming from a non-biased standpoint. So I could understand why Scott was defensive. I could understand why it was, he felt that way. But on the other hand, Scott has been foul this season. Scott has been foul. I've come on here and talked about it a few times, how foul I feel like Scott has been. Just the way he speaks to Contessa sometimes, I feel like he's trying to embarrass her in some instances with this whole life coach. And, he even said it at one point during this episode. He was just saying something. And I feel like he was genuinely trying to embarrass Contessa. And this whole it's just very shady. On top of all of that, the kids talking about you have a girlfriend and you're not correcting them. Oh yes, he very much gaslights. We're gonna get into that too. He really does gaslight and try to make everybody else seem crazy, try to make it seem like Contessa is crazy. While I understand him being defensive, I discussed this in the beginning. I understand you being defensive, but just the fact that you were so quick to get up, the fact that you were so quick to speak over Contessa. I got you. I got you. I got you. Don't you got me? You know that. We got each other. We've been through way worse than this. We've been through way worse than this. We gonna make it through this. We've been way through, like, before. He wouldn't let Contessa say nothing. He wouldn't let nobody else say nothing. And I feel like that says a lot about him trying to like control the situation, control the narrative. Like he shut it all down. Like he shut everything down. He wouldn't even allow the conversation to be had. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do feel like Heavenly and Qua were doing too much at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like, I would be defensive too a little bit because it's like, okay, you don't even know what's really going on in our relationship. You know what Contessa told you, but do you really know what's going on? It was just like he was gaslighting the whole table though. It's like obviously something is wrong though, because Contessa is crying. Contessa is crying. And for some reason, Contessa just looked like she's scared of Scott. Like she's like genuinely afraid of Scott. And she was afraid of time she was apologizing. And just like, I'm so sorry. I'm just so sorry. Even when she got up from the table, she was apologizing to the people at the table. Like, I'm so sorry I involved you. Like, when have we seen Contessa act that way? You know what I'm saying? Usually Contessa is very much strong, very much, she can come off very aggressive. You know what I'm saying? You almost feel like if you get into it with Contessa, it might be on the verge of a fight. You know what I'm saying? Contessa just looked like she's like very military, very much, she's not going to back down. But when it comes to Scott, she has this very timid approach. And it was very weird. It was very odd. And I'm not saying Scott is doing anything physically to Contessa. I'm not saying that. You know what I'm saying? But it was giving like almost like a battered woman, And maybe she feels battered emotionally because it just didn't make any sense for that presents herself completely different in other aspects of her life to feel so helpless towards Scott. It was a really hard thing to watch. It really was. And this is where it felt very Tyler Perry to me, because like those parts in Tyler Perry movies where the man gets up and he's just like, yup, this is my woman and y'all don't talk to her. This is the way I do things. And y'all, look, you just not gonna talk to them no more. Now, I'm not saying Scott did all that, but the way he just got up and just took her away, it just felt like he was just trying to, whatever help she could have possibly got, it's like he was trying to cut that off. You know what I'm saying? And even though she was just apologizing and apologizing and apologizing, he was like, no, it's fine. It's fine. You didn't do nothing wrong, but you're treating the situation like she did. I don't know, y'all. It was so weird and manipulative. It's like Contessa wanted to speak up, but she was scared to go against him. And I don't know. It was like he had mind control over her. I don't know. It was really, really weird. Really, really weird. Um, so let me see. Then later that night, uh Heavenly and Quad go to their room, like right after. And make sure if y'all are in here, make sure you like the stream, you guys. Heavenly and Quad visit them in their hotel room. This is like, I feel like this is directly after, because Heavenly and Quad left that dinner early. Everybody was sitting there like, well, he didn't answer none of the questions. And, Curtis and Cecil were trying to, they were trying to have his back. But then when they found out about, this life coach that he wasn't paying, like it was like, oh no. But, Curtis was still trying to say, well, we only have one side of the story. Heavenly and Quad go to the room. And, he answers the door. He was like, oh, I was already knocked out. It was like he was trying to like have this facade. Like he's still trying to put on this facade. Like everything is okay. Like, oh, it didn't bother me. Like, we fine. Didn't that happen? She back there studying. I'm in here asleep. Ain't nothing going on. We fine. We fine. Like, who are you trying to prove this to, Scott? Because clearly something ain't right. I mean, just acting like did nothing happen at all. I'm like, what is like you're even gaslighting. You're gaslighting everybody at this point, because I feel like he's even trying to gaslight the audience, because clearly he see the camera. So I can't imagine living like this, y'all. I can't imagine. Oh my goodness, that was crazy to me that he was really trying to act like nothing happened. And the crazy thing is, in some ways, I could understand why he is acting like this, but in other ways, I can't, because it's one thing for you to be like, look, if they came to that door that night and he was like, look, this is between me and Contessa. Nah, y'all can't come in here tonight because we got our own stuff to work out. You know what I'm saying? It'd be one thing if he said that, but it's just the fact that he was just like, oh, nothing. I was just sleeping. She was just doing her work. Child, that was weird. And then, okay, so you allowed them in the room. So whatever they brought with them, you allowed in the room that night. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, they come in and they actually want to speak with Scott further. They want to, actually confront him the way they wanted to in front of everybody. And they asked him about the life coach, and he switched up his whole story and basically said that he was just saying that to spite Contessa. He was trying to make Contessa mad. He was just saying anything because they were arguing, but they weren't really arguing. Like, unless y'all were having an argument off camera that we don't know about. But for all we know, you just walked in the house and then all of a sudden you just coming up with all this just to be nasty. Anyway, I don't believe it either way. I think it is another woman, because we're gonna find out later on. I'm gonna talk about it in a minute. But he changed it to now he's meeting up with a man named Kevin Johnson. I'm surprised he didn't say Kevin Samuels, child. I would have believed it better if he would have said Kevin Samuels, because that would explain your behavior a little bit better. But someone named Kevin Johnson, and like Heavenly said, that has to be the most generic name I've ever heard in my life. That sounds like something you came up with on the spot, or you came up with in your head, like as y'all were walking back, because you knew you was gonna have to answer to this at some point. But he basically That was crazy to me that he just made up a name on the spot like that, and all of a sudden it's a man that he was talking to. Even though later on when he met up with Cecil, Cecil made it known that Scott was lying about the whole life coach thing, because when he met up with him, he claimed that Scott said that he, wasn't talking to any sort of counselor or anything like that. So Cecil kind of spilled his tea on that. But basically, Scott was lying to avoid the truth. Once again, this is clearly something that he does with Contessa all the time, but it's just not working on, Quad and Heavenly. And so, you know, clearly this is why Contessa doesn't trust him. And when his lies did not work on Quad and Heavenly, he dismissed them really quick. And they was just like, oh, okay, let me get up out of here. Cause it's like they were still trying to like talk with Contessa about Scott while he was sitting right there in the next room. Y'all really think Scott finna sit up here and let y'all do that within earshot of him? So I do think that Heavenly and Quad were wrong for being that invasive coming in their room like that, but he did let them in. So I don't know what point he was trying to prove with that, but it just made things worse because now your lies are being seen for what they are. He tried to smooth it over. He doesn't want his business on TV. Well, it's too late now. You might as well be completely upfront and honest, because all your business is out here at this point. And you're on a reality show. For you to be doing all this stuff, like, because later on, Carrie heard them arguing early in the morning about him getting some very inappropriate pictures sent to his phone that he requested. Okay. And once again, he was denying and lying. And so Toya and Kari decided to visit them once again. This time he did, because he did not want to have to answer none of those questions. And yeah, she was just basically just completely upset, and she definitely believes that he's lying. But it's like, Contessa, what are you gonna do though? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, are you just gonna put up with this? Like, you see that he's lying, you see that he's not owning up to anything, so what are you gonna do? Like, it's like she knows there's a problem. She knows that he doesn't really want to fix it. She knows that there's some infidelity going on, but she's willing to just stick around. I just, because the next thing you know, when we see this is the very end of the season, and we see like the updates at the end of what's going on with each couple and with each person, Scott and Contessa are still together and just acting like everything is perfectly fine. I think even to this day, Scott and Contessa are still together. And I'm just like, is Contessa really willing to just go along to get along? Like, based on the reunion trailer, it looks like she's just staying for the kids. Like, I feel like she is too. Like, clearly she's saying that. Clearly she said that out of her own mouth. But, and you know what? Contessa has been through a lot. Her father was not there for her because he had some addiction issues. And I believe her mother was sick. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't her mother sick? So maybe she feels like she wants her kids to have the childhood that she wasn't able to have. And maybe that's why she'll feel like she's breaking up her family if she leaves Scott, and she doesn't want to do that to her kids. Contessa doesn't want the shame that's given being a divorcee and a single parent. But is it worth going through all this turmoil? Like, Contessa is not happy, like, at all. Like, you can't be happy. Every time we see Contessa, she looking stressed out. She looking worried. upset, you know? Contessa, Contessa did say on Watch What Happens Live that they both are in therapy now. Okay, now if they're both in therapy now, I hope that Scott is truly taking advantage of this, and so is Contessa. I hope they're doing it individually as well as couples counseling, because what we saw on last night's episode, that is not healthy. She's laying a weak foundation for her kids staying in an unhealthy relationship. I agree, because at the end of the day, your kids, we mimic. In psychology, we study this. Like, you mimic what you see in your household. Like, a lot of things that a lot of our traits and behaviors and the ways that we behave in any relationship, whether it's your significant other, whether it's friendships, whether it's, just any relationship, a lot of times people do what they've seen. They model what they've seen at home, and how, your parents how your parents behaved. A lot of times we just are imitating that, you know what I'm saying? And so it's just not healthy for your children to see their father, for example, treat their mother that way, because you're going to go out and you're going to find a man to treat you like that. You're going to try to imitate that same relationship. And then the son is going to think that's how a man treats a woman. You know what I'm saying? It's sad but true, but I think it's more detrimental to keep the children in an unhealthy, dysfunctional environment. Plus, no child wants to see their mom miserable. Exactly. How is Contessa not questioning her kids about this girlfriend? She just says she doesn't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, Contessa, why? I don't understand why Contessa will be like, something's going on. I didn't like the fact that he said, he had this woman, being his life coach. The kid said something about a girlfriend, but then she won't really press it any further. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like the most she'll do is ask Scott that question, but she won't really ask him follow-up questions. And she'll just let it linger. She'll just be upset. She'll handle the situation in a very passive aggressive way. And that's something I just don't get about Contessa, because when it comes to other people, when it comes to situations like with women in the cast, for example, she'll confront that head on. And she won't mind getting into an argument. But with Scott, like, she's like, it's almost like she's scared to press the issue with him. Like at that dinner, like, she just looked scared. She looked timid. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry, Scott. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to go like this. I'm sorry. I'm so like, why are you so it's like it the only word I could think of is like scared. Like, why does she look so nervous? Like, the ironic thing is Contessa exudes strength. She looks strong physically, so to see her behavior this season is weird. Right. Like, even when she speaks with confidence, and she just looks very assured, like, she looks sure of herself. She's one of the women that I would look up to most on this show, as far as like how she carries herself. But with Scott, yeah, it's like she was a different person. This kind of reminds me of Kenya with what, you know what? Exactly. Because Kenya is very much very similar, that she's like in any other circumstance, Kenya is confident. She's not gonna back down. She's all for confrontation. She's gonna be the first one to confront somebody. You know what I'm saying? She, she's very, the way she carries herself is very confident. But then when it comes to Mark, she becomes this almost like a shell of herself. Like he could tell her to like go stand over there and don't talk till I tell you to talk, and she'll do it. Like it's like treat, like the man could treat her as bad as he wants to, and she'll just take it. And I don't get that. And I wonder is it I wonder is it like daddy issues? Like I guess with Kenya it will probably be mommy issues. But with Contessa, like she definitely, we've even seen on the show, she's had issues with her father. I just want, and she even said on one of the past episodes this season that Scott reminds her of her father. Like he's not absent physically, but emotionally. So I wonder, is it daddy issues? Contessa also made a weird random comment a few episodes back about cheating not ending a marriage. Does Scott have something salacious on her? You know what? I really hope he's not blackmailing her now. That but I wouldn't put it past nobody, but I really hope he's not doing that. Like I think she looked timid at the dinner because she got him there under false pretenses and the ladies immediately attacked him. That could have been a part of it because she, that was wrong. Like I said, I think Heavenly really really jacked the dinner up. Like the dinner probably could have been a little bit more um positive or constructive, or could have had a better, outcome had Heavenly not attacked the man from the jump. Like sometimes you have to butter people up before you go in for the kill. You know what I'm saying? You can't just come right out and, well, what about you, Scott? You ready to answer these questions, Scott? Like, of course, anybody would be defensive after that. You know, it just seemed more messy. It seemed like she was being more messy than it was actually trying to help. And I really do think Heavenly loves Contessa as a friend, but you just don't let her speak first. If anything, you let Dr. Simone or Dr. Jackie. Really let Dr. Jackie do it. Because I just forgot. Dr. Simone, she can be a little messy herself. But I feel like in that moment, she wasn't, she was trying to make him feel like he wasn't being attacked. The couple's dinner has never been a smooth one. Quad was somewhat like this with Gregory. It's because they don't want to put it all on TV. Yeah, because I will say Quad, she did not want her business out there. She didn't, unless she was telling her husband business. But when it came to like even at like while they were going through their divorce, she was being very private. I think that's a part of the reason why she got demoted, because she wasn't being as open, you know? It could be both instances if of Kenya and Contessa, they both want their kids to have a better childhood. But I could understand Contessa a little bit better because at least your husband is in the household. Kenya, you really didn't have nothing to hold on to with Mark at all. At least you got your beautiful daughter from it. That's about it, because he didn't really give her much else. But I could see where you're coming from with that. So true, the couples dinner. The couples dinner is always terrible. But I feel like it's because people, I feel like people don't, they be coming into it in a very combative way. Like it's always somebody that's gonna be combative. And usually it's Dr. Heavenly. Dr. Jackie's husband told them it was gonna work out. Why does Heavenly still say Contessa? Cause she messy. She messy. Well, Mariah did say that Quad didn't keep it real with folks. I believe, like, I think Quad is another one that wants to control the narrative. She's another one that wants to control the narrative. She wants things to look the way she wants it to look. But when you do things like that on a reality show, you end up making yourself look bad, you know? Especially when you've already put all of your marriage problems out there and all of a sudden you want to be private. I think that Kenya's marriage was real on her end. I think that Mark might have used Kenya. But I think Kenya was actually all in, because I think if it was so fake, she would have been willing to have it on the show, like her other fake relationships, quote unquote, allegedly. You know, her other relationships, she was willing to put on Front Street for the world to see, and let it play out. And even when it went bad, like, she was willing to let all of that play out. But when it comes to Mark, um, she was willing to go along with him to not let it be on TV. It was like she really, 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 really was weak for this man, because Real Housewives of Atlanta was her whole livelihood, and she was willing to give that up. So that's the only reason that makes me really feel like, at least on Kenya's end, their relationship was real. And even the way she acted around him, he had control over her. And I just don't think, if it was fake, I think she would have been the one to be more so in control. I always felt like Contessa was starting mess for storyline purposes every year. It's a new problem with them. I think a lot of times I think Contessa is like crying out for attention with him in some ways. Like, she seems to be very passive aggressive with him. She's not able to, like, say exactly what's on her mind, or, you know what I'm saying? She's very passive aggressive. So I feel like maybe she does start certain issues to get some kind of reaction out of him, because she won't like attack whatever her real issue is head on. Because with him, like, it's like he is very stubborn, and he is gonna only talk about it for so long before he shuts it all the way down. You know what I'm saying? He it's like he kind of is controlling in that way. Like, if he don't want to talk about something, he gonna shut it down, just the way he did at this dinner. And he shut it all the way down, and he even, grabbed Contessa. I mean, he could have just walked out himself, but no, he had to take Contessa with him. Like, no, I'm shutting this all the way down. Kenya acted the same way with Matt and Walter. I can't remember the other boyfriend. That's true. She did act a little bit more subdued. I wouldn't say with Walter, because she acted a fool with Walter. She acted a fool on Walter, I think. Like when she thought she might was gonna get a ring or something, she was like, oh, but she ended up acting a fool on Walter. I think with Matt, I could agree with that. But I think her relationship with Matt was real. Yeah, I get you. This is the only season he actually reacted to her. True, because he really like he'll shut Contessa all the way down. And maybe he created this dynamic between him and Contessa. Maybe in the beginning, Contessa was willing to confront him, be more like how she is with other people, with Scott, with being a little bit more aggressive. And maybe he shut her down all these years and kind of now she only feels like she can passive aggressively say things to him. It's really interesting. Like I would like for someone to like with a degree to really diagnose this situation because it's so interesting to me. Come to think of it, Contessa's friend Britain has the same dynamic in her marriage. In what way? What do you mean? Because I low key forgot. I haven't watched. I only watched the first season of Married to Medicine LA, so I low key forgot what her dynamic was with her husband. That's true. Contessa wants his attention. They're very cold to each other. I don't get these women making their marriages a storyline. I don't get that myself. I personally, I couldn't put all of this on TV. I really could not. I don't know how they do it. Having everybody discuss it, like just like even the way we discussing it right now. Personally, I couldn't do it, but maybe Contessa did this on purpose. Maybe she knew that she wouldn't see change any other way without having the world see it because she knew she wasn't going to stick up for her own self. So maybe she wanted the world to see it because she wanted people to be like on her side. I don't know. Her husband appeared a little controlling when she didn't find that position. He told her to pack it up and come home. Child, I don't know. I would have to like really go back and watch their relationship because I really can't remember at all what happened. Like I kind of remember like she was in LA and their husband, I don't know, they were elsewhere like Florida or something like that, and she was looking for a place for them, looking for a job, and maybe that didn't work out, and that's what you're talking about. He told her to come home. Child. A reality show definitely seems to be relationship suicide for most couples. I mean, if you look at the couples on this show, the couples that put their business out there are the couples that suffered the most. When you look at Cecil and Simone, they had a really rough period where they were like straight up gonna get divorced. Um, I mean, Jackie and Curtis, I mean, clearly he cheated and it was very public. So that's why they went through what they went through. But they also had other things going on with Jackie working a lot and he was feeling neglected. I'm not saying that's an excuse to cheat, but that also was happening. And that was very public. So that makes it very easy for someone to want to, like a side chick, to want to like snake way in there. They see the man is not happy, so they, slide in them DMs or however. Um, which Curtis, I still have a bad taste in my mouth for Curtis over that. Doing that to Dr. Jackie like that publicly. You getting caught out at a airport. Embarrassing her to the highest degree. And then of course Quad and Dr. Greg, I mean, he basically their problems were out there too. Like he wanted a child from Quad, and Quad didn't want to have a child. Is it that Quad didn't want to have a child, or she just didn't want to have one with Greg? I don't know. But child, all of their problems were always on Front Street. And so he ended up, did he cheat or almost cheat or something like that? He ended up in somebody's hotel room, child. And so, I always felt like they weren't gonna make it though. I always felt that way. It just never seemed like Quad really, really wanted him. I never felt that way. It just felt like Quad was with him for the money. I hate to say that, but it just felt like she was with him for the money. I mean, Lisa Nicole, her husband, she ain't going nowhere. She ain't going nowhere. They problems been on Front Street since day one, and she ain't going nowhere, no matter what. I'm trying to think. Like the most that we found out about theirs is, when they went on that trip, and they went to see some strippers, and she got upset about that. That's the most we done seen. Both Contessa and Scott seem to be kind of selfish and cold towards each other. Cecil and Simone. I know Cecil and Simone was so rough to watch because I feel like regardless of whether you like Simone, like they're like the favorites. They're like one of our favorite couples. Like Cecil and Simone, you don't expect them to fall apart. And to watch them fall apart, oh my goodness, that was terrible, especially at their reunion. Oh my goodness, I wanted to cry. Curtis makes me roll my eye. Curtis, don't nobody want your advice. I want you to know, don't nobody want or need your advice. Why he always try to give out advice? Like, honey, relationship advice? Don't nobody want your advice, sir. Okay? You probably gonna have to wait a good 10 years. And I'm talking about with no, we can't have no more Dr. Jackie feeling upset with you about nothing else publicly before you can give out any type of advice. And even then, I don't think I want to hear it. Okay? Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. Because I'm just now getting to the point where I don't roll my eyes every time I see Curtis. Because at one point, every time I just looked at Curtis, I just had this great disdain. Like, like, why is he here? Don't nobody want your advice, Curtis. Now, if you want to talk to somebody about basketball, fine. But don't nobody want to hear your advice about no relationship, okay? You done ruined your whole reputation, sir. I'm sorry, because Curtis really out here trying to give advice. Like, and he really be giving advice like somebody asked you. Did nobody ask you, Curtis? Did nobody ask you? It's like, I feel like Curtis be wanting attention so bad. Like, he be wanting attention so bad. Nobody asked you. Can you do a whole Curtis rant? Because the thing about him is, like, I get it. I understand. I understood. Let me say that. I understood before he did what he did. When he was talking about, Jackie working too much. And because they're a little bit older, Jackie and them, she looks good, but they are in their 50s, you know what I'm saying? Or early 50s or late 40s, whatever. So they're getting to the point where, maybe he's retired from basketball. I don't know if he does anything now. Um, maybe I now that I look at it, maybe Curtis just had too much time on his hands. Maybe you should have found a job coaching somewhere. Go coach a little league basketball team or something. You know what I'm saying? Keep yourself busy because Jackie deserves to have these ventures that she wants to have. Dr. Jackie is a go-getter. She is a doctor. Dr. Jackie wrote a book. She has her own clinic. She's starting her own like sunscreen beauty line. Dr. Jackie does not have time to be sitting home and rocking in a rocking chair with you, Curtis. I'm so sorry. Like, I can understand if y'all were like 70 and you want her to sit down, or maybe y'all want to travel together. But Curtis, let me tell you something else. Maybe she would have been a little bit more willing to stay at home if you would have let her have a child. Because now I'm finna get really upset, because I just feel like, yeah, I understand maybe at one point in y'all relationship y'all discussed it, and y'all didn't want to have children, but Jackie went through cancer, breast cancer. Okay? Jackie has Jackie has been through a lot, and I really feel like the least you could do was let her have a child. And I don't know, I just feel like Jackie is gonna resent him down the line somewhere for not even being open to having a child. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Jackie would have made it so easy for him to have a child too. Anyway, like, I just feel like he was wrong for not letting her have that child. And then like when she was like, okay, you're not letting me have a child, at least let me have the townhouse I'm looking for. No, we got to get the house I want. Like, everything is on Curtis's time. I can't have you all the time. You need to quit. You need to stop working so much. I don't want to have a child. You can't have a child. You can't have a townhouse, because it's like all on Curtis's time. It's all what Curtis wants to do. Curtis is very selfish. Okay? You're very selfish. And then I thought she gave up since her pregnancies weren't successful after the chemo. But I thought I remember at one point she still wanted to have a child. I mean, there's other ways you can have a child. You could do a surrogate, or you can adopt. But I think at one point Curtis was just like, no, I don't want to have a child. And he stopped all that conversation. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like a lot of what Curtis did was selfish. And so because of that, Jackie filled up her spare time with working. So while we do think, oh, on the surface, it's like, oh, Dr. Jackie, you shouldn't have worked so much because, he wants you home. Well, it's a lot of things that Curtis didn't give her as well, that he didn't want to compromise either. You know what I'm saying? So while she's working, why don't you find you something to do? And I'm not talking about find other women. So you had the nerve to go out here and cheat on Dr. Jackie. Where were you going in the airport? Where were y'all going? Where were y'all going? Where were y'all going? I'm trying to figure out, where were y'all going? Like, I mean, obviously, like, vacation, maybe they were going. So y'all just gonna have y'all a good old time in Jamaica or wherever y'all was going, huh? You all in the airport with another woman? Y'all going on trips? I don't know how Dr. Jackie got back with Curtis, because Me reliving all of this, ugh. And I wasn't even the one going through it. Y'all, you're in the airport. Where are y'all going? Like, what y'all finna go on a trip? Like, you, you flew somebody out? Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. Y'all done riled me up. Cause Curtis, you did all of that. You did all of that, honey. You know what, Dr. Jackie, if you like it, I love it. Cause I couldn't get I mm-mm, mm-mm. And I know there's women. I feel like, I feel like companionship, maybe she doesn't want to go through being single. Maybe she just wants that companionship. And, Curtis is familiar. And, maybe he's changed. Maybe he's changed. Maybe he's, done the work. But it just makes me mad when we get in these situations with these couples and Curtis want to be the first one to speak up and give his 2 cents. We don't want to hear it, Curtis. We don't want to hear it. We don't. We don't. We don't. Dr. Jackie doesn't want to pay him alimony. And the crazy part is, like, if it wasn't for that whole situation, whenever they're on camera, they seem like they have a decent relationship. But it's just like I can't get past all of that, what happened in the past. I told myself, like, last season, I was like, okay, I'm just going to let, Dr. Jackie, you love him, I guess. I'm going to keep rolling my eyes at Curtis anytime he fixes his mouth to give advice. Thank you. You watch Ready to Love, you see what is out in here in these streets. I guess, child. It's hard out here in these dating streets. So if you can make it work, I guess, child. And plus, if you're with someone for that long, I'm sure you're comfortable with them. They know you. You don't want to get to know anybody new. And then you might get to know somebody and they might turn out to be a scrub. So I guess. I can't. I cannot. I say work it out if it's possible and healthy. Look, I know a lot of people, a lot of marriages that have gone through the cheating thing, you know, and it's worked. And they've been married for years and years and years and years and years. But I don't know. I just feel like if the person's changed, if the person actually changes or makes an effort to build that trust back, that's one thing. But this serial cheating, I can't deal with that now. Now, maybe I feel like Curtis is whipped back into shape. I do think he is whipped back into shape. That's probably why he feels like he can speak up on certain things. But no, sir. Based off your past transgressions, we're gonna need another about 5 seasons of you not saying nothing, of you just being in the background. Hi, bye. That's all we need from Curtis. Hey, bye. We don't need too much talking. I think with Curtis, he just never seemed that apologetic. Maybe he was, and we just didn't see it. Yeah. I think that's a part of it too. I think if we would have saw more of, yeah, Thank you. Yes. He wasn't apologetic enough. If he was more apologetic, and maybe, and like you said, he probably was behind the scenes, but maybe on camera we just didn't get enough of it. Child, because it just seemed like he was so arrogant about the situation. To me, that's the way he came off. Yeah, there's no way it's a no for me unless I get to cheat too. No thanks. The silent role. That's what I want to. That's what I want. Curtis to play. Now, when he's with the other men and they just laughing and joking, you can have a word or two. But when it comes to the relationship advice and people talking about relationships and giving advice, keep it cute and on mute. On the flip side, I felt like with Cecil, he got really real to save his marriage. I do appreciate that from him too. The thing about Cecil, he gonna wear it all over his face. He gonna wear it all over his face. Like whatever he's feeling, I feel like he feels, what's the word I'm looking for? He gives me a little bit more emotionally intelligent than the average man, his age. I do feel like he's willing to be more vulnerable than some of the men on this show. I think he's willing to, he doesn't have all that macho bravado. I feel like maybe if he gets a little angry, he might bristle up a little bit. But for the most part, and I don't mean this in a emasculating way, but I don't think he minds playing the more submissive role, if that makes sense. He doesn't mind not having control or being dominant. You know what I'm saying? I hope that I'm not trying to make him sound weak at all, because I feel like that has its own strength. Because some men, oh, I'm the man, I gotta do this, I gotta do. I low-key feel like that's how Dr. Damon is. Like we only get to see like the Winnie the Pooh version, like, ooh, I don't know why people would say these things about me. But I just wonder how he really is behind the scenes. He seemed like he'd beat your chest type of man with Dr. Heavenly. Anyway, I just feel like Cecil is willing to just let his guard down and be more vulnerable. Cecil has to be, you know what? Cecil has put up with some stuff with Simone. I mean, Simone has put up with some stuff with Cecil too, but I'll just never forget. Do y'all remember on season 1 when it's crazy because both of these men have very dominant wives. But Eugene and Cecil was trying to bring Toya and Simone together. And do y'all remember when Simone went off on Cecil? Do y'all remember that? Oh my goodness, she like really like took the gloves off and went off on Cecil, like screamed on Cecil. And I felt so bad for him. Like Cecil couldn't do nothing but sit there like a puppy with his tail between his legs, like, and Simone was just like going off on him. I was like, Simone, you were dead wrong for that. You did not have to snap on him like that. Like, dang. She like, I might have to go back and watch that. But the way I remember it, I just remember feeling so like, why was she so abrasive? Goodness. If that was a man talking to a woman, oh, it would have been an uproar. Cause it was just too much. Yelling, yeah, just screaming. Like Simone will scream to the top of her lungs. And I like Simone, but I couldn't put up with that. Uh-uh. It was sweet when he talked about his dog. Yeah, moments like that, that's when you see how, like, emotional he can get, like, and the fact that he was actually real about his feelings, of course anybody would, like, if you had a dog that you were that close to, of course you would feel that way. But some men, they'll try to act hard and like, but he was very real about his feelings about that dog. Child. Poor, sometimes I'd be like, poor Cecil, because shoot, that's a lot to deal with. That's a lot to deal with. But I know he loves Simone. I know he loves Simone. Heavenly is also way too loud. It turns out these men are actually saints. But you know what? Heavenly, I don't think Heavenly do that with Damon. Heavenly will do that with these other women, but I don't think Heavenly screaming on Damon like that. Not unless he do something like that she deems out of line, like when he was out there with them, strippers or whatever. She screamed, she got loud with him then, but I don't think she's doing that with him too often. Heavenly is very submissive. So I doubt that she's going off on him like that. I just don't see her doing it. She talks too sweet to Damon. Like she's not even, like, even when it comes to when she wanted them to get counseling, he felt like he knew more than a counselor. And so they stopped going to counseling, and she didn't even she didn't question it, basically. So Heavenly is completely different with her husband. Very much like what we've been talking about with Contessa and Scott a little bit. That's why also it's a little bit hypocritical of Heavenly to come at Scott the way she did, because I know if somebody were to come at Damon like that, you think what Scott did was controversial. Heavenly would have flipped that whole table. Let somebody come at Dr. Damon the way Heavenly came at Scott. Yeah, because she be calling him daddy. It's something a little, I'm sorry, like when Monique does it with her husband, it's something, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. It's something a little off with that. It's especially if you're a woman who had a strained relationship with their father, for you to be calling your husband daddy all the time. Something off about that. Heavenly has changed so much since season 1. Now she is cursing and going off all the time. I think she feels more free to be herself now. I feel like she feels more comfortable to do exactly what she wanted to do in the beginning. She probably felt like she had to be, well, actually I know, because I watched one of her lives and she said, at one point she felt like she had to be professional because she wanted to, present herself in a certain way because she's a dentist and she has, her own practice. But she realized that she was getting more people coming in by being herself. Like when she was like going off on people, more people like that. And actually she even got more clients based off of that. So I feel like she feels more comfortable with doing it. And also Heavenly knows that if she doesn't do that, then we won't have a lot of conflict for the show and the show will be boring. So she's doing what she got to do for a check. also. They all get major makeovers after season 1. Tell me about it. The latest one is what's her name? Wendy from Real Housewives of Potomac. I don't even recognize her. She looks totally different than what she looked on season 1 of of her season 1. Her first season. She looks completely different. Like, she looks amazing. She just looks different. Yeah, I don't like when they say daddy. It's just like, why are you calling your husband daddy? My grandma says, like, it comes from when you have children and you just, you in front of the kids, you say daddy, and maybe you continue say it. But I'm like, because Monique's kids are grown. Heavenly's kids are just about grown, and you calling your husband daddy, not even in the vicinity of your children. So I think Dr. Wendy got a glow up post baby. Okay. She did, somebody did, it might have been you that mentioned that she had a baby. Like, not like right when she started, her baby was kind of brand new. So maybe, that's why she glowed up now. That okay, and I could see that. I could see that. She kind of like getting back into herself, kind of getting out of mommy mode and kind of like, getting into makeup, and maybe she got a stylist, maybe she got a new makeup artist, got that season 2 money, you know. That's like the Braxtons makeover city after season 1. Yeah, because when you look at season 1 of the Braxtons, I feel like they could have done better than that, even on season 1. But you know what? Everybody looked like that on their season 1. Well, not to that degree, but everybody, there's always a glow up after season 1. Oh, the Braxton season 1 was rough. Um, it was a lot going on that season. Oh my goodness. It was a lot because when I think about it, Trina was getting a DUI. Tawanda and her husband had this strained relationship where they weren't together, but they were still living in the house together. And that was weird. Um, Tamar was she didn't want to be a backup singer anymore to Tony, and that was that whole drama with her husband. She didn't want to sign that contract. Um, shoot, I forgot Trina and her husband at the time, he was cheating and everything. It was a lot going on. They had a lot going on. Tracy was still being resentful. Tracy still to this day is resentful over them having that group. Oh my goodness, they have a lot. Oh my goodness. This probably was the worst thing they ever did was come on this show. For real. I mean, it was good for Tamar because it really boosted her career. Like, we went from not knowing Tamar at all to her having a whole career from it. But I feel like their personal lives like suffered greatly from being on this show. I forgot about what Trina did. The fashions and hairstyles were a struggle. They do need to let the show go. I think it's run its course. I think it's done nothing but bring turmoil at this point. I think it's been more bad than it was good. It would be different if they actually made money from the show. I think it would be a little different, but like if it made them like millions the way it did the Kardashians and stuff like that, I could see it better because at least they could, say, well, I started my business on this show or we built generational wealth off this show. But they didn't even get that. They didn't even get properly paid. All they got was turmoil. They don't even seem like they cool with each other anymore. Like, and it's so sad. It's one thing to watch, Real Housewives of Atlanta, um, women that are, friends fighting, but it's another thing to see a family break up. That's hard to watch. Like I don't even think I watched the last season. It's just too much. It's too much. I see Tracy's husband in the store from time to time. The first time, honestly, thought he was a homeless man. I can't. I had to stop watching the Braxtons. It got too messy and sad to be a family. Me too. Tony do not want to be bothered. And I honestly don't blame her. Like when they did that Anila episode and she was like, I love my family, but I don't like my family. And when I say I don't like my family, I don't like nobody. And when she said nobody and repeated nobody, I could understand. I totally could understand where she was coming from because they are toxic. Toxic. And they keeping the drama for the money and they really ain't getting paid. Even getting paid. That's why that's why they boycotted that season because they wasn't. For Married to Medicine, I feel like Anila is going to try to change too much to fit in. I just feel like I could agree with you. I feel like Anila is not a good match for this show. I just feel like, and I hate to make it a race thing, but I just feel like she just does not fit in with this group of Black people. I feel like she would fit in better on like, I don't know, like another show with white people on it. I'm sorry. She just don't fit in with these group of Black women. She can't handle their mouth. She can't keep up with their mouth. And ain't nobody gonna baby you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like she can't handle it. And I also feel like, so while we're here, do you feel like she was wrong for charging all those drinks to Lisa's room? She would be better on Married to Medicine LA. She would, because those group of women, I feel like she can handle them better. In arguments, I feel like she could hold her own with them. But when it comes, you got to have a different level of confrontation with Married to Medicine Atlanta. I'm sorry. You just have to. Tracy, you think she was wrong? I feel like she was wrong too. Like I saw a lot of people like, oh yeah, she was petty. Oh, that was a good move. Like, but no. Mm-mm. She didn't even get her money. The bar got them. Exactly. You didn't even get your money. Like It fell flat for me. It didn't do for me what it did for a lot of people. And I just thought I didn't think it was right. I thought it was shisty. And I think it came off real scammerish based off of, you know, you already have a history of not paying people they money. If she charged $600, okay, okay, and I'm not even a fighter, but I'll be ready to pop her too. I'm sorry, I don't play like that. $600 is a lot of money too. I know that's for them, 600 isn't as much, but I still they ain't nothing to be playing with. Anila is more of a neighborhood acquaintance than anything, right? She doesn't hang. Yeah, she just. I don't see her hanging out with them either. She's not gelling. She's not gelling at all. And she feels a little try hard too. Like she's just doing too much, trying to do too much. I feel like she was wrong and she would have paid plus got hands because don't play with me. Okay. I miss Mariah too. I feel like it's a shame that they got rid of Mariah and replaced her with Anila. My th- I just think that I just think she's not a good match, and I just feel like I don't know. Those antics that needs to be taken elsewhere. And has she done that to somebody? She wouldn't have done that to Heavenly or anybody else. I don't think she would have done that to pretty much anybody else on that cast. She did it to the right one. All right, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and jump off here. Make sure y'all like this live. Um, for those who come in late, for those who came in late, I will be like putting this back up for the replay. Also, I don't know. Maybe I might come back next week for the reunion. I don't want to like say I am and I don't, but maybe I might do that. But I just wanted to talk about this whole Scott and Contessa thing because I could not believe what I was watching. What else? I think I might do another live this week. I'm not sure. Let me stop saying what I might do and I just pop up. Y'all see me, turn your notifications. Good night, Alexis. I missed you this live. Um, and yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye.